Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now, time for another mod on the CRF250L. This is the last one that I'm going to be doing for a while actually, because it kind of completes the Making the Engine Breathe series. I've already done the FMF aftermarket pipe, front and back end. I did the airbox last time. Now it's time to sort out the fueling. Now we've got the bike breathing much better. She'll be running lean with a standard ECU map, so we need to get a bit more fuel into the bike. Now the easiest way to do that with these machines is to buy one of these things. One of these is called an EJK electronic jet controller, and basically it gives you the ability to program your fuel maps. This one comes ready loaded with a map for the CRF250, complete with aftermarket exhaust and the airbox mods that I've done. So it should just be a case of plugging and playing, and away we go. It should make the bike feel yet even more perky, and it's already feeling good after the mods I've done to date. But more importantly, it'll keep the engine in good condition, because it'll make the mixture more rich, means I won't mess up my valves and so on. So that's the job today, get the EJK installed. Okay, so just before we get cracking, I thought we might like to see what the thing actually looks like. So this comes from the US, in fact. It was about £200, I think. Can't remember the name of the company that makes it now. Strange name, it'll come to me later. Anyway, this is what the device itself looks like. It should be a fairly simple matter. Once the thing is in, it's easy to program using these three buttons, and we'll have a look at that a bit later. But the install is quite straightforward. You've got a ground, which you connect to the frame. And then you've got this wiring harness. Basically, you plug one end into the fuel injection system and one end into the plug that came out of it, and hopefully we're all good to go. So and then it's a matter of training the leads through and making a neat job. So let's get the panels off the bike, see how it goes. Okay, so that's the seat and the panels that matter off. I'm going to actually put the EJK controller here. This is a little position with some Velcro on, which is where the manual normally goes. But in this case, it should just fit there. And then it's a matter of training the wires around. This is the snorkel for the airbox. I might just pull that out actually to give it a bit more extra breathing as well. I've seen that a lot of people just remove that, so I might as well do that. Give us a bit more room. And then I can either connect the grounding wire to this grounding point here. Here's the little grounding point that I can connect the wire to there, if that's neater. Or failing that, I can do it on the other side and go direct to the battery. So let's have a look around that side and see if that makes more sense. So this is the other side of the bike where the battery is, and this is obviously the negative terminal. I could just connect it direct to there. It may make more sense depending on how it sits in. So we'll have a look at that in a minute when we've got it in position. Right, the first job we've got to do before we actually touch anything on the bike is just disconnect that negative terminal on the battery, so we make sure we don't do anything dodgy with the electronics. Okay, so let's just disconnect that. Let's just make sure we don't put any spikes through the thing when we're connecting and mess up any electronics. Let's just pull it out of the way for now. And I might just take that up there to stop it touching back, to be absolutely sure. We won't lose that either. This may seem like overkill, but you never know. If it takes longer or whatever, and we don't want that to touch back on there, so we'll just make sure that is strapped out the way for now. Okay, perfect. While we're at this end, why don't we take that snorkel out as well and do that little mod while we're at it. Okay, so this is the snorkel, and this should just pull out. It's going to be tough. Let's see. Actually, it's not that tough at all. Okay, it actually comes. I'll keep it so I can return it to stock at any time. But again, quite thick rubber there. So just removing that will have given us that extra much of an opening in the top. So that's great. Okay, that's that one done. Okay, so to the electronic jet kit itself. Here it is again, as I said. And this little harness has to plug in basically. There's a socket in here somewhere. I can see it just up here. I'll just reposition the camera, see if I can show you that. So this is where we're going to plug the EJK in. I hope you can see that there's like a grey socket there. I'm just going to literally unplug that and plug the new loom in. That's what we're going to replace on top of the fuel injection system. Okay, so it's going to be difficult to show you that on the camera, but I'm going to unplug it and plug the other one in. Take my word for it. That's where that's gone. Okay. Right, so before I plug or unplug anything, I'm just going to sort of position this where it's going to roughly go. Now it's going to sit there, as I said before. They do supply you with a bit of Velcro, which is quite thoughtful of them, which will just stick on there, so I'll do that at the end. But basically it's going to sit in there, and I'm going to train the wires through this way. I think I'll connect the ground direct to the battery there, because it's a very short run. I can do that nice and neatly. And then I've got to feed this through neatly somehow as well. There might be a bit of coiling up I have to do. To hide some of this under there. So let's just fiddle around with that for a bit to get the length about right. So what I think I can do, looking at this, is actually remove these couple of existing, I don't know if you can see these, let's just move the camera. we go. What I think I'll do is remove these existing cable ties here. I've got some big cable ties I can replace these with, and then just feed that along there and under through in that position, so it should be quite nice and neat. So that's the next job, get those off. Actually, it looks like these might be clever reusable cable ties, so in that case, we'll reuse them. Let's see if I'm right. I've never seen reusable ones before. Yes, you can. Look at that. Fantastic. So we'll keep those. Well done, Honda. Come on. There we go. Excellent. Neat. Okay, that's going to go along there when I've got it all properly positioned. Okay, let's get down the socket end then, and get the things plugged in. Right, before I get too carried away, I'll just train this down towards the battery as well, and perhaps we'll connect that up first. In my mind, it seems logical to do that. Just get the screw on there to hold it there for now. Okay, and once it's all plugged in, we'll neaten that bit up. Okay, so this is the action end then, and then I'm going to go back under here and say unplug that bit. This is what's going to be a bit fiddly. Okay, so at the action end then, this is the bit that I think is going to be, could be quite fiddly. Let's see if we can just get my hand in there and release that. Come on, it'll have to be a left-handed job. Let me squeeze the front and back looks of it. Gosh, you need very small hands for this. Okay, drastic measures. I think what I'll do is I've released it and then push it with the screwdriver. Maybe that'll work. Oh, come on, you devil. Gotcha. Right, that was quite fiddly. That's quite fiddly, but I have managed now to get the plug off. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. Right, so let's plug the others in. So it should be fairly obvious what goes where. That's the replacement for that. Okay, and that one goes in there. Looks like it'll only go in one way around, so it's virtually foolproof. That's in. And then this one in there. Got a bit of tidying up to do afterwards. I think in. Excellent. Okay, so she's all plugged in where she should be. She's got a bit of tidying of wires to do now. I have to say, anyone that says this is a very easy job, it is easy, but it's fiddly. So it's straightforward enough, but yeah, it's quite fiddly to actually get that plugged on there. So be ready to swear a bit. There we go, so that's all nice and neat there. And before I do the final bit of tidying up, let's turn the ignition on, make sure the EJK is flashing, as I would expect it to do. Okie dokie, so she's all connected up, as I think she should be. Now, if it's connected correctly, according to the instructions, which like often for these things are fairly scarce, but okay. It says that if it's connected correctly, you should start the bike, and it should have scrolling green LEDs for 3 to 5 seconds if the install is correct. So let's give her a try and see if we get some scrolling LEDs. Looks good. Right, as far as I'm concerned, the connection is correct, so I can tidy it all up and secure in place. Excellent. Right, first thing to secure is just a bit of loose wiring here. We obviously don't want anything to vibrate around too much when we're moving about, so I'm just going to cable tie that onto that connector there. Okay, it's all good that end. Nothing's touching anything that shouldn't be. Let's tidy up this end a bit. Now, the EJK itself comes with thoughtfully some Velcro that you can use to attach it on there. So let's stick that on there. What's that? Some little access bit. We'll leave that on for waterproof reasons. And then let's wind these around a bit. Nothing moving around that shouldn't do. Well, it's not going to go anywhere, but it shouldn't do. It's all good. Right, one last test before I put the covers back on. Make sure she's still flashing as she should. Great. Okay, liking that. Covers back on, and then it'll be job done. Okay, so there we go, job done, another mod done. The company, by the way, that makes the EJK fuel control, I couldn't remember the name, it's Dobeck Performance, so if you need to buy one, then have a search on Dobeck Performance and you'll find it. FMF also do a badged version, it's exactly the same gadget, but anyway, hopefully that's going to make the bike breathe properly, give it the correct mixture, make sure the engine's protected. It will, of course, have a negative impact on the fuel economy, but on this bike that's not an issue because it just sips fuel anyway, so we'll see how that goes. So pleased with that, look forward to getting out on it, giving her a try, and I shall report back as to what difference it's made. So thanks for watching, till next time, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.